Common Ec with Jared and Ian. I mean, there's got to be a common sense approach to this. I mean, right?
Generation X has been quiet for way too 1 minute 15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second, altitude 9. New knowledge we know.
Common Ec.
I want my empty.
Hey, and I feel fine.
Welcome to Common X with Jared and Ian. Today's guest is MeeMaws Hometown Kitchen. And wow, what a story this is. We're happy to have you guys. So how did this happen? How do you end up owning a pay what you can restaurant?
Our story actually starts about 16 years ago. I was kidnapped and held hostage for 5 months. And during that time, I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And I even gave birth to her while in captivity. And when she was 3 weeks old, I got the courage to escape. Unfortunately, my ex followed me. And for 3 months, we played a game of cat and mouse. But in November of 2008, I got the confidence to finally have him charged, and I called the police. The police unfortunately detained him, but he was released about 12 hours later and immediately tried to break into my home. And my best friend at the time, she's still my best friend to this day, said, "You need to hire a bodyguard." And I said, "Who can I hire? I have no money." And she said, just ask Derek. And so I jokingly said, "Hey, I'll pay you $100 a night just to sleep at my house." And he said, "No, I won't take the money, but you can just come sleep at my house." And, that night he packed up my daughter and myself, and there was no plan for romantic or anything like that. It was just a friend that was helping me. And he took time off of his work to go to court with me. He was always there with me. And a few months later, I knew that it was coming up. My ex had been charged. He was put in jail. He was getting released. And I knew I couldn't keep my daughter in that town because he wouldn't leave us alone. So I told Big Red, I said, "I'm going to take her and I'm going to run. I'm just going to take her and I'm going to move. And that's the best bet for me." And we had only been officially dating for 2 weeks at that time. And he said, "No, marry me. I have a job. We'll raise her together." And I went,
Wow.
"You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy."
I said, "I know we're going to get married eventually. Might as well be now."
We got married 3 days later. 3 days later.
Wow.
Yes. We got married, and everybody at our wedding said we were crazy. They all said we wouldn't last a year.
My grandpa thought it was a shotgun wedding. Thought she was pregnant. The whole wedding video. Grandpa's, "Are you sure she ain't pregnant?" Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
it was. And quickly a year came and went, and our marriage, it wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. But one thing we had promised each other is that divorce was never an option. We both do that to our children. And for the first 11 years, our marriage was your typical American marriage. It was not delightful. It was, we despised each other. We constantly chased after the almighty dollar. We both were married to our work more than we were married to each other. We filled our lives with our work versus filling our lives with each other. And in 2020, I lost my job. I owned a private Christian school, so I lost my school, and my children lost.
Well, when COVID hit, all
yeah.
the restrictions.
So I
Yeah.
just said, I'm going to warn you, I have a lot of crazy ideas in my life. So I just told him, I said, "I'm taking the kids and I'm moving 300 miles. And if you want to come, you can come. But if you don't, you don't have to." And at first he was like, "I don't want to go." And I was like, "That's fine. This is the end."
I had a good job,
And
good benefits, all that. It's kind of hard to leave.
so we moved.
Wow.
I took the kids and we moved. He moved us. And after 2 weeks of the kids and I living actually in the town we live in now, he called me up and said, "I want to move. I want to be there with you guys. I see your vision. I don't want to do this anymore. And he moved over here and
Quit my job, cashed out my 401k, bought all my tools and my trailer, started a construction company.
but after we moved here, I
Wow.
started finally telling people what had happened to me. So for 11 years, I didn't tell anybody what I just told you. Like, I actually had a TikTok go viral with 6.9 million views about what had happened to me. And I had only told 5 people in my life when that video went viral. So like his family found out, some of our close friends found out, like at the same time, the rest of the world found out. But when I did that, it was so freeing. It was like I had just opened the doors to a whole new life. And over the last 4 years, we both just really started not chasing the almighty dollar and instead chasing God and each other. And our marriage now is stronger than ever. But I have been telling my story on social media for about 3 years. And my grandma told me, if you're doing it for the wrong reason, Elise, God will humble you. And I woke up one day and I had lost everything. I had been hacked. So someone came in and stole all my money, stole all my followers and everything. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I was like, touche, Grandma. I was just humbled. The next week I started making sourdough bread and decided I wasn't going to do social media anymore. The Lord showed me I was supposed to start baking, which was weird for us because I never went into the kitchen, because the whole reason that I was kidnapped was my ex had stabbed me in the abdomen and put me in acute kidney failure.
Holy smokes.
Admitted for 2 weeks while at 4.5 months pregnant with my oldest daughter. So I hated the kitchen. Like that all happened in the kitchen. I never wanted to go into the kitchen. I never cooked for our family. Like he did all the cooking. And so I told him, I said, I'm going to make sourdough bread. And he literally laughed at me. He was like, what? Like, you're crazy.
I was like, you can't cook. Like, she really couldn't cook for like
But just like a few weeks later, I had a loaf. Like I did it. Like I was like, I did this. And then I started making dinner for our Bible study. And then I started making dinner for other people and taking it to their doors and dropping it off on their doorstep. And I really learned how much I loved feeding people. And I woke up one day and God told me to open a restaurant. And I told him, I said, I'm going to open a restaurant. We had $20 extra in our pocket that day. Like that was it. That's all the money we had. And he's like, you're funny. How are we going to do this? I said, I don't know, but God's going to provide. About a week later, a woman handed us a $5,000 check and told us to go open a restaurant.
Incredible.
Yeah. And, it's just been since we have decided and we have said, okay, we're doing this. It's like every day we are blessed and we are still going. We are still. When we first opened, though, we did have prices on our menu, but we both hated charging people. Like it just killed us. Like we hated it. And I think it was about 4 weeks in, I told him, I said, God told me to take all the prices off my menu. And at this point, I think he was about ready to divorce me because he was like, you are
You're crazy, lady.
Like, I was like,
that's a horrible business plan. What are you?
Right.
I was like, God's told me, like, if we do this, he will provide. Like, I am to go back to social media and use our income. And like, I played it all out to him and he told me no. He was like, no, we're going to wait a year. And I was like, okay, whatever. And that weekend we made $300.
No, we only made like $100 all weekend.
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Like,
and I said to him, I was like, are you ready to trust God? Are
so
you
I was
ready?
like, okay, whatever.
He's like, let's try it. And I think we hit like quadruple.
Yeah, like we made every day what we made on our busiest day when from opening. Like at least. And it was like, wow. Yeah. It's like he does provide.
And we just started, I mean, we just gave all faith to him. And there are other pay what you can restaurants in the United States. But what we have found is we are the only ones that claim to be fully funded by God. And we truly don't expect anybody that comes in our door to pay. If they feel the desire to pay and they want to donate, they can, but we do not expect it from anybody. We just don't, because God's told us like he's got the bill at the end of the day. And it's not our worry on if you're going to pay or not.
How many people actually go into the restaurant and don't pay? I'm just curious.
So
Are
we
there-
feed all the kids for free in the community. So on Mondays and
Wow.
Thursdays, we feed at least 40 kids for free.
Just at lunch. That's
yeah,
not
just at
that's not
lunch.
including them stopping in for breakfast and after school and everything else. That's just on lunch.
So we use a bulk of our social media money just to do that for the kids because we live in a low income community, and the reality is like these kids just don't have the income. They're farm kids. They're like, you know, if they're not a farm kid, then they're coming from a low income family, and it just isn't realistic. And the whole point of this is to spread love, show kindness, and show kids that we accept them for who they are. And how can we do that when we are trying, like when we're charging them? We often tell them, like, if you have a penny in your pocket, you can donate it. Like, you have to scratch ours to scratch yours. But for the most part, they pretty much all just come in and eat.
Wow.
But I mean, like, a lot of them have
Some of them try, and that's all we
Yeah.
that's all we ask is, you know, teach them that, you know, not everything in life is free, but you got to try, you know, and we'll feed you either way, you know.
As for adults, like 90% of adults come in and they pay something.
Yeah.
Like they pay something. There's that arrogant ones that are like, I'm not going to pay because they can get away with it and feel naughty, and God bless them. Have a great day. But
I guess there are those people out there, yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like we just, it all evens out. And like, honestly, we don't know who pays and who doesn't pay because we don't have a system. Like we have buckets for donation, and we have a QR code if you're going to use your card, and we don't actually run anybody's payment.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, that's when we know if we made quota or not.
Okay. Okay.
So now, is it just the two of you working there, or do you guys have a staff as well? Or
Well, it was just the two of us, but I
Yeah.
actually just hired two different gentlemen to help us out here. So it'll be
yeah,
just like part-time.
just a couple hours here and there, part time, just to help her out back there.
Getting a little tired.
Rolling that dough, you know.
I imagine you have a long day. I've watched some of the TikToks. I just love them in it, and it seems like, you know, you could see it in some of the TikToks. Like I think she's pretty up, you know, she's up pretty early working on that, or having to go to the store. And I really thought it was pretty interesting how you guys once a week, what is it, Tuesday? I may be incorrect on that, but you guys drive within 2.5 hours to support other restaurants and help people out as well.
Yeah, we started that. We've always been like, something that's always been important to us. Like our whole marriage is blessing other people. And so like on our anniversary, we've always made it a point that when we go out to dinner, we actually always pay for someone else's dinner also. And that's been something that we've done our whole marriage. And so when we started getting all of this like amazing feedback from people on social media and growing in a way that I never thought was possible. Like I have more followers now in the matter of just a few months than I had after years of working on it. Like, I want to share that with other people. Like I know what it feels like to feel like you're the only small restaurant in, you know, a vicinity of 100. It's like, it's just lonely. So I want people to know that there's other restaurants out there that are supporting them, and then I can maybe bring people to their small restaurants also.
Yeah, we either bless the owners of the restaurant, or we bless somebody eating in the restaurant. So usually if it's like a bigger chain or something, we'll bless somebody that's having a meal there.
Wow. That's incredible. So, a quick recap for our audience. We went from being held hostage in captivity for like 5 months while being pregnant to a love story where we meet Big Red,
Yeah, yeah.
which I love your stuff as well too. And then we just kind of fell in love, and now we have a pay what you can restaurant in Union, Oregon, of all places. I've been through there. It's pretty small.
It is,
Somewhere near LeGrand, right?
Yeah.
it is
Um,
very small, and
Yeah.
it's full of just a bunch of grouchy, bitter people, to be honest. Like, we don't get much feedback. Like, we don't get much pushback from anybody online. Like, everybody's online is like, we love what you're doing. And I was like, come tell our community members that. Like,
so do you guys actually catch fluff in the community for having a
100%.
pay what you can restaurant? What's
Yeah.
that like? What's that look like?
Well, what it is we're different.
They
We're
don't
different.
understand
We
it.
don't get it. They don't
Especially
get it.
The older generation, it's
Right.
bunch of
How can you
older
say something
people, and
about
they must be doing something illegal in there if they're giving everything for free, and like, how could they pay for that? And they don't understand how social media works. And
Well, and
Yeah.
I've also been kicked out of a lot of the churches in the community for being too mouthy. And so that
well,
is
for calling them out.
that is some
Yeah.
of it too. They just don't like me personally as a person. So, but that's okay. I just pray for him.
Well, that's good. That's a good attitude to have. And yeah, I would think, man, that's kind of wild. Because I mean, we're obviously we're a Gen X, Common X podcast, but we always, try to think about, community, and it's all about community, right? And then we hear your guys' story and we're like, wow, now that's community. That's like supports, our audience, Gen X, taking each other's backs.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's getting better.
It is.
It's
I do
getting a
have to
lot
say,
better.
like I think it was
Yeah.
last few days we were open, there was people that would just kind of like walk in and look around, and I would say, you want any food or drink? They're like, no, we're just trying to check out what's going on in here. And I'm like, okay, you just enjoy that. And and so it is, people are starting to come around, but
Yeah.
it's like, we're not born and raised in this town. And I don't know if you know anything about small towns, but if you're not born and raised, it's like trying to fit a puzzle piece that doesn't fit in a puzzle. Like it's hard. And so, we're not locals, so they aren't sure. And then it's just a lot of things, but it's so great to see them start to come around, see them that they're starting to see that we're, sincere, and we're not doing this for any other reason other than to love and support the people of the community. The kids, like, they know what's going on. They've been inviting us to their sports events for the last few months and hanging
wow,
out.
that's great.
Their parents text me and we're like, oh, so-and-so, my kid wants to stop by and show you their homecoming dress. And like, I truly have become like 100 kids MeeMaw overnight. And MeeMaw is like not something I ever imagined to be called at 38 years old, but now I'm being called MeeMaw by thousands of people throughout the United States. So it's pretty cool.
That's incredible. So how did you come up with the name MeeMaw?
Our middle daughter is a very eccentric little girl. She always is like cracking jokes and having fun. And one day she started calling me MeeMaw. And I really honestly thought she was just doing it as kind of a joke. Like, that's just her personality.
I thought she watched Young Sheldon or something,
And okay.
And so like, we're just, let it go for a few weeks. And then finally I was like, honey, MeeMaw is usually what you call your grandma. And like, I am not a grandma. And she's like, but Mom, you love people more than anybody I've ever met. And you love everybody no matter where they're at. And I was like, okay. And she's like, and that's what a MeeMaw does. And I was like, you could call me MeeMaw, honey. So
that's incredible. That's great.
And as as a mom, because for years I went through so much trauma and I actually pulled myself away from my kids and I wasn't the mom they deserved. And my biological mother was actually a practicing witch. And like, so I didn't have
That
like,
hid behind.
yeah, I didn't
Christianity.
have like a great mother relationship with my own. And like my biggest fear was to do that to my own children. And so to hear my own child say that to me meant a lot, because it meant that I had truly broken those curses that was going to destroy my kid. Like I didn't want to hurt my kids the way my mom had hurt me. And so to hear her say that and think that of me meant a lot.
Wow. That's pretty emotional there. That's a huge thing. And now now the name is on the kitchen. It's on the Hometown Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's viral. It's everywhere. That's
Mhm.
just amazing.
At first she was like, I asked her, I said, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Well, it bothers me that so many people call me MeeMaw because you're my MeeMaw." And she's like 13.
Oh.
And I was like, "Well, I will always be your MeeMaw first." And she's like, "I know." And she's better now, but at first it was hard for her because she's like, "You're my MeeMaw, and all these thousands of people are calling you MeeMaw now." And it's like, but she's come around to it and loves it now. So.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, now she can see the impact, right?
Mhm.
And she created that, right? I mean, that was
Mhm.
what she came up with. So that's pretty cool. And it's
Mhm.
amazing to hear that your community is kind of adjusting now. Jared and I know exactly what it's like. We're both, we live in a small town in Eastern Washington, and neither Jared and I are from here either. We kind of had to earn our stripes in the community and
Yep.
settle in. Our kids do horse clubs and very involved with the community. So I mean, that's great. Jared,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm hogging all the time. Do you have any questions, brother?
I'm just letting you talk, man. You got questions? Go for it.
I do have a question. So, Big Red,
Yeah.
what do you do when you're not, helping support your wife with the business and the diner?
Well, I don't know. It takes up most of the time. Now, I did have a contracting business, like I mentioned, but recently, it's funny because as soon as we opened this place, like all the calls stopped. Like it was weird. Like
That's interesting.
I've never advertised a day in the whole time I've owned the business. Like never had to advertise and always had calls and work. And as soon as we opened this place, the calls like pretty much stopped. Like it was, I mean, it was divine intervention, I guess. Like it was like, all right, time to do a 180. Like, and
What do you do for fun?
what do I do for fun?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have fun.
This
You
is your
don't
fun,
hunt or
right?
fish or nothing? I mean, you live in the most beautiful area for that.
Oh yeah, I fish sometimes, and my grandpa come over and visit, and we go fishing. This year I didn't. I like to hunt too and stuff like that, but didn't get tags this year, so
We
I
go
was too
hiking a
busy.
lot.
We go
and
hiking
kayaking,
and we
ride
go
our quads, and
go soak at hot lakes.
Yeah, there you go. And that's such a pretty area up there. I
Yeah.
spent quite a bit of time there too. Man, the hiking, the hunting, the fishing, you guys have it all over there.
we do.
Yeah.
Skiing starts real soon, and it's only
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
minutes from us.
Yeah.
He
Anthony,
doesn't ski, but he's a
Nope.
great cheerleader.
Yeah. I go out.
There we go. We're not getting Big Red on skis this season.
I'll keep the truck warm.
I'll provide the hot
I'll
cocoa.
be in the lodge.
Yeah.
He did run for mayor of our small town, but that goes
Yeah.
back to we aren't locals. So
Yeah.
unfortunately he didn't win. So
I mean, if you think about it, if 125 people would have voted the opposite way, I would have won. So I mean, technically, it was pretty close. But
Yeah, you just keep trying though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
I
give
mean,
up.
it's whatever. Like I just put my name on the ballot. I didn't even like campaign or anything. So like I just threw my name out there and whatever. Like I'm not disappointed. I got so much going on now that it's like it probably is for the best.
Our
But-
goal this next year though is to actually go travel and tell our story, like, and help people start restaurants like this all over the United States. Like that is our biggest goal, is to build our social media to a point that we can actually go give people the seed money to start a restaurant like this, so that other communities can benefit from the love that these kind of restaurants bring to the community.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. Would you encourage other restaurant owners to do this? Like maybe not like 7 days a week, right? But start small, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe a day a week or 2 days a week to just offer that kind of same pay as you can type
Yeah.
of scale.
Well,
Right?
even
To kind of
encourage.
start it, right?
Yeah. Even encourage like, like a pay it forward system or something. Like,
Right.
a lot of people do the pay it forward, they put a bill on the wall or something, and if anyone needs it, they can take it and use it,
Well, I think everybody's searching for an outlet, especially in today's world, and to have a place to be able to come no matter what money's in your pocket and know that there's conversation with a fellow human on the other side of the counter is really more than the food that we serve. Like we talk and have fellowship with people more than we actually serve people. That makes sense. It's
serve people. Yeah. More than we feed their souls more than we feed their bellies, I guess you would say.
it's really just become a place for people like that are truly going through a hard time. They know that we're here. They know that we're here from, open to close so many days a week, and that they can walk in, get a cup of coffee and tell us what's going on, and we'll listen to them. And we're not counselors. We're not claiming to be a church or pastors or anything. We're just literally like-minded people, human beings that want to help you and love you. And I think if more people could get that attitude, then yeah, let's encourage more people to do it. But if you're just doing it just out of your own selfishness, and then rethink.
Well, and they know if they tell us, we're not the ones to go around and gossip and, gossip about it either. So they're a little more willing to talk to us too.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, we live in a time that I think a lot of people are trying to find a purpose, right? Like something that, like you said, kind of connects with their soul and other people. Because, man, social media has done some good things, but it's definitely isolated us a lot more, right? It's done the opposite of make us social.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially COVID.
Right.
did a
And
lot
so
of
that
too.
didn't help, right?
No.
For sure. So it's great to see, a company like yours, a restaurant, right? And hopefully a community that will help support you eventually, right? Same thing Ian was saying earlier about being in Deer Park, small town, small city, lots of old boomers, right, on city council.
Yeah.
None of these insiders with these new fandangled ideas, right? We're not
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
not gonna allow you to come in and change things.
I
We
mean,
like it
I'm
what it
glad
is.
a few of the council members changed. So
Yeah, same here.
this year, so hopefully we can get some good change, whether I'm the mayor or not. But
Yeah, that's kind of one of the other things I want to see, like, overall for this country is like getting to that point where Gen X, starts taking control of things, right? So I think the boomers had their time. They've done to our country what they've done, and it's time for us to help them up.
Like,
And
that's kind of what
you got-
people don't like about here, is that we are a Gen X kind of group, and we're bringing a change to their community that makes them feel uncomfortable.
right.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a good thing. Right?
Yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone, wake up.
Yeah.
Right? So
Exactly.
I love that you guys are kind of pushing that, and that you're going to plan on, going around to other communities, other restaurants, and try and have them do similar to to what you're doing as well. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we just want to help people remember what community is even like. Like,
Right.
you know, we encourage people all the time to like sit with people that you didn't walk in with. Like, just sit down and chat with them, have dinner with them, have lunch with them, you know, like you don't, and we get told a lot by the parents that their kids wouldn't be able to make it through the day of school if they didn't have this place, because they come down here and they're not bullied. But they're still around the same kids that are at school. It's just they know I won't tolerate it. And we need to
Right.
stop, I mean, we need to just stop giving them a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start becoming that society of we instead of the society of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
100%.
Exactly.
I give away probably more money. I mean, I think that's what the community doesn't understand is like, if somebody comes in and they're like down on their luck and they need help, like I not only will not let them pay for their meal, but sometimes I'll just give them money. Like I'll just give them $100 or something, like, God bless you, have a nice day. And people are like, how do you do that? And I said, it always comes back to me. It always comes back sevenfold when I do that. And that's what community is like. It's like not shaming you for your fault, just helping you through it. And
if everyone shared their gifts and if everyone shared their talents, we wouldn't have to have money. You know what I mean? Like if everyone just helped each other, and we wouldn't have to have currency, really. I mean, they didn't have it back in the day. I mean,
right. I've been a big proponent
other.
of that, right? In a resource-based economy, right? Just
Yeah.
get rid of it. Like we can see all the trouble and pain it's caused throughout humanity's history since we've invented it.
Yeah.
And let's just get away from it. That won't be easy, right?
No.
And you know, the people in power are definitely incentivized to through money. So getting some newer laws passed or something that would help that would be a pain. But do you guys have any concerns about like other restaurants, you know, like losing business to you guys for that?
the restaurants in our town have not lost any business at all.
Okay.
If anything, they've probably gotten more business because the people that are mad at us aren't coming here, they're going there.
Oh, right.
But really who we serve in the community are the people that can't afford to go to those other restaurants, because the small towns, they jack the prices up way too high. Like I own a restaurant, it does not cost $25 to make that. Anyways, and so we serve the kids. Like honestly, it's more just becoming a community center. Like the kids come and they hang out and they play games and they get a pizza roll and a bagel, or you know, and it's not, I don't make these extravagant meals. I literally make like grandma's comfort food, and they just come and hang out. And so if the businesses were losing money, like, yeah, I would feel bad and want to see how I could help them. But their parking lots are full all the time. And someone checked the dynamics or whatever, and they have not lost any business at all since we've started what we've started.
Have you talked to those local restaurants at all about doing like a day a week to where they did the same thing?
They won't speak to us.
No, won't talk to you at all.
No. They actually, one of them often, like if I make a muffin, she makes the muffins. If I make a burrito, she makes a burrito.
We open our drive-through early. She opens it early. Like she just, just copy everything we're doing.
Like it's almost comical. It really is.
Funny.
I mean, honestly, if it was not for the people on our social media donating towards our cause, and the people, and then the social media income, we truly would, our doors wouldn't be open and these kids would not be eating. And that's why I know I'm doing something right, because even
when the community is trying to shut us down, we're thriving.
Yeah, you know? Like even with all the pushback from all the community, we're still thriving. And so the pushback doesn't bother us. I think within the year, they probably 95% of them will come around and want to be part of this. But right now we're odd. We're weird. We're a duck in a pond that is really weird.
New guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So how
it's-
long have you guys been open?
we've been open since
Since July.
June. Well, we've been
June.
open since June. We've been pay what you can since the end of July.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were open like 5 weeks, and then she's like, "Hey, we're gonna take all the prices off." Okay.
Oh man, I can only imagine how you felt there, Big Red.
Yeah.
We're gonna do
Like,
what?
You realize I'm not getting any calls for construction. Like, I mean, I was getting a few,
He's
but not-
crazy, I tell you.
Yeah. I was like, I'm married a mad woman.
We're all crazy somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just for so many years, I allowed so much darkness and pain to drive me. And I was literally just a bitter, angry person that was never happy and couldn't find happiness in any way, shape, or form. And 4 years ago, I started to turn that around. And I don't want anybody to get stuck in that bitterness cycle. It's just, it's not fair.
It's not
It's not
worth
your
it.
fault. It's not, you know, like just stand up, like just get out of the fog. It's okay. We're here for you. And that's why we do it. It's just literally to show people that there is still love in a world full of so much hate.
So we're seeing kind of like karma at its best, right? So
Mhm.
you're giving to the community, you're not expecting anything, and you're finding positive rewards from that. That's just incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and you guys are living proof that love is sustainable. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
there's days where it's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
days where I'm like, Lord, what's your plan tomorrow? Like, we don't have much money today. Like, and it always falls through. It always happens in a way that we can't explain. And it's like, oh, that was your plan, not mine to figure out. I get it.
Like, I don't know if you saw, we gave away our minivan
That
to
was
a-
another.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw
Yeah.
something like
to a needy family, and
That
like
was
5
another.
5 days later, we get a package in the mail, and it has some Ziploc containers and
A
a
large
yeah,
blessing that
$9,000 check.
was able, so we
Yeah,
could get a new
so we
car.
can get a new car.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so you give away your van to a needy family. Well, you guys are incredible. Okay, so we're gonna start feeding people. We've had kind of a disastrous past a little bit, right? A
Yeah.
very hurtful kind of, I'd say tragic, right? You guys went through some tragedy.
Yeah.
So then you guys just change your whole mindset, right? You said you were the typical American marriage. There was some bitterness, there was some fighting, like which, a lot of us in this country, I mean, I wanted to move some stuff around the shop today. I had a pretty good blowout with my wife. I'm just kidding. It wasn't bad, but it was very, very, very American. So you guys just decided to change your whole mindset. We're going to start feeding the community. We're going to take the prices off of our menu, and then we give our minivan to a needy family. And what happens again after you did that?
I mean, I gotta tell you, the minivan was given to us.
So yeah,
first.
someone
Like,
gave
we didn't
us
Okay.
pay for it. So someone
right
blessed that
before
with us.
right
for
before
us.
I opened, I had chosen to be without a car for a year. Another way for me to be able to help heal myself, because I used a car as a way to always be in control. And so I chose to be without a car for a year, and I opened the restaurant, and a family from the community knew I needed a vehicle, and they gave me this minivan. But I knew it wasn't going to like stick around for a long time. And I woke up about 4 weeks ago, and I knew it was time to give it to this family. So I called and asked them if they had a car. They didn't have a car that fit them all. And so I said, meet me at Walmart. And I handed them the keys one late night and walked off. Like, that was it. I didn't want any money for it. I didn't want anything. And I found out a couple days later that they had been evicted from their home and were actually living in that minivan. So they truly
Oh
did
man.
more than we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And like, we had his work truck, which was on the fritz and needed some work. And then we have our daughter's like Toyota Tacoma that has no shocks and the frame is rusty, but we had the vehicle, right? So we were fine.
Yeah.
So we
Had to weld it back up.
sacrificed. And then the other day,
Wow.
about a week ago, we were here, and a random box showed up and it had 2 packages of like just
Ziploc container.
inexpensive Ziploc containers in it, and taped on top was a large blessing for us to be able to buy a new car. And so we went down, and then it was crazy because we were supposed to have family pictures on Sunday and it was raining. So I said, well, let's skip this and we're just going to go down to the car lot and
Just look around. We
just
weren't
look
planning on
around.
buying.
We had no intentions of looking or buying anything. And literally like the right car fell in my lap. And it was a little bit more than we expected to spend, like a couple thousand more than we expected to spend, but we know God's going to provide. It was literally like the perfect car. And he was like, just take it, like just pay when you
The
can.
people
like,
knew what we were
pay
doing
it in a few
here,
days,
and
like not a big deal. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just like, it was way
That's
too
awesome.
easy. It was way too easy. I've never bought a car that
Yeah,
simple. I was
yeah.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
this is meant to
yeah,
be.
like, oh, bring the money later this week, no big deal, you know, like wow, like okay. So, and he gave us probably about $6,000 off of it.
Mhm.
So
Wow, this was Legacy Ford in LeGrand.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
So they started to adopt the same attitude and the same practices that you guys have with just being good to one another and
Yeah.
kind
Well,
of
they just
Well,
wanted to
and the-
help. They
yeah.
said that they had seen us and they just wanted to help us out and give
Yeah.
us the best price that they could give us. And the
The-
manager is
I
a coach.
coached his little.
Yeah.
I coached one of his kids' football team
And
one year.
the manager is a coach here for the kids in Union, and he's
Yeah.
seen kind of like how it's affected kids, and he really just wanted to help us. And see, it's
Yeah.
like we get that quite often. We had a lady at Walmart the other day who stopped me and was like, "It's so great to meet you," and she threw money at me. It was like $20. But I mean, it happens like, and
wow.
it's not why we do it, but what people don't understand is when you give selflessly, like your blessing is actually attached to other people, and you have to give selflessly to get your blessing back. And I took that $20 and I gave it to someone else. Like you just cycle it, and the blessings will continue to come as long as there's love behind the blessing.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it with the right heart, you know.
Wow. That's just
Pretty amazing, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really is.
we actually honestly say the same thing. Like some days we wake up and we're in complete awe of where we are in life, because it's like, wow, like this really is happening to us. I mean, we were ones that were always worried about how we were going to pay our bills next month. We were always worried about where groceries were going to come from. We were always worried, always searching, working. And when we both said, we're going to stop working and just concentrate on ourselves and look at like we work here, but it is such a joy. It just doesn't even feel like work.
Yeah. And we've been in like other restaurants to where, and they've actually like paid for our meal
Oh,
because
yeah.
they
Yeah.
liked what we were doing, and we're like, what?
Halloween, somebody paid for our meal at dinner, and I mean,
Well,
it
that
happened.
too. Twice at the Mexican restaurant and at
Yeah,
Denny's,
it happens quite
like,
often.
where
And it's-
people just recognize us and like, hey, we're gonna bless them this time, you know, like it's crazy. It's hard to accept the blessing though. When
That's what I was gonna ask
give
you.
it all the
Yeah.
time. It's hard to like, no, who is the person? No, like who is this person?
Right.
You know,
So
you're like,
how does that feel? So you guys are used to kind of, you guys feed people all the time, and this is your guys' thing. It's your way of spreading love through the community. How does that feel when somebody recognizes you guys and they're just like blindly paying for your meal? What's that feel like?
It's odd.
it's very odd.
It's odd.
It's weird. Like,
It's because we've been on social media for so long, and we've actually been published like 49 times worldwide. We were even in Newsweek as like the real life Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner, and we were
Yeah.
never ever recognized like out. It was just like, this is who we are. And so to actually be doing social media and to be recognized, I'm not a very public person. And so for me, it's like really hard because yes, I am public on social media and you guys all know my story, but to actually like in person do that is really hard for me. And So it feels very odd. Not gonna
I can
lie.
imagine. So
Yep.
what's on the menu here? What do we got? What do we feed people with here?
Our breakfast burritos are very, very popular. I probably make
sell,
like
like-
50 to 60 breakfast burritos a day. And then I do my own sourdough in house. So I make all my own sourdough bread, and then I make whatever
Bagels,
kind of sandwich you
everything.
want on the sourdough bread. I have bagels. I make bagels, bagel sandwiches,
Make
sourdough
pizza
French
rolls.
toast, sourdough pancakes. If I have the recipe, if I have the ingredient, I will make it for you. Just
So,
this
yeah.
restaurant.
So you just have a ton of sourdough starters everywhere? Because I know my
I have
wife's done
one very
yeah.
large
Just
sourdough
one
starter.
large one. Yeah.
And then I like my dough is actually for all of my stuff. My dough is the same dough. I just cook it differently. So I make
Right.
40 to 60 pounds of dough a day. And then I split it up and I make like cinnamon rolls. I make pizza rolls, which is pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, butter,
Peaches.
and rolled up in a garlic herb sourdough.
Mhm.
That's really popular.
They're really, really popular.
Then the cheeseburger roll, which is like the same thing, and she serves it with like a homemade like burger sauce and lettuce and tomato and onion on the top. But
We
I
have
just-
5 stars. I never get told my food is bad. Even
Yeah.
like I've never had a complaint.
She makes her own potato salad and broccoli salad.
Mhm.
Wow, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing to be able to go from not being able to cook or to,
Yeah.
5 stars, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's-
crazy. It
sourdough.
was like overnight. Like I was kind of scared to taste it there for a while.
It's really
It-
cool,
it
like for our
worked out.
kids to watch this too, because our kids know I was not a very good cook, and now they're like, "What's going on? Like, how is this even working, Mom?" And it's like, I don't know, just faith, and trust.
I still
that it's gonna
cook.
work.
I still am like the only one that cooks at home though now
Mhm.
because she cooks all week here. So I'm like, that's the least I could do is cook when we're at home.
She doesn't take her work home with her.
Yeah, exactly.
But like most kids nowadays, they eat out of a box. And a lot
Right.
like why I do home cooked meals is our oldest daughter has a autoimmune disease that makes her brain swell. And one of the major triggers for her is different foods. And it's like the preservatives in foods are not good for
They're
our
killing
brains.
our kids.
And so like
The chemicals are crazy.
yeah, so everything I serve here is home cooked, and the kids know, like they know the difference. They're like, and they know that they can ask me, "Can you make this?" And I will make it for them. Like
Yeah.
they all have their own burritos that they like it made that way, but a lot of people say, "Well, you're spoiling them." I believe wholeheartedly every child
Oh.
deserves the right to be able to ask for what they want to eat and have someone cook it for them. Like that is our job as parents. And
That's
just
how it
because
used to
that
be.
child's parent failed that, I will be that person for them then. Like I just wholeheartedly
Yeah.
believe that every kid deserves that.
Well, and you're teaching something great to the next generation too, right? So, I mean, it's amazing that not only your children will learn from your example, but other children in the community. And hopefully, as they learn that, they'll pay that forward as they get older.
Yeah. And we
They
might not see
already-
it now, but 20 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
we know that we helped form that next generation,
Yeah,
for the positive instead of the negative.
exactly.
Any other questions?
I think you've
No.
answered most. Like, I had a huge list of questions, and as you guys are talking, I'm just going checked off, checked off, checked off. Like, you guys are awesome guests. You kind of answered all my questions before I even answered them. So, or asked.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, thanks for coming on our show. We really enjoyed you guys. Big red for mayor, definitely.
Yes,
I-
definitely.
I wish I lived there. I would vote and support that. Amazing thing that you guys are doing with your community. Just great community spirit, great community support. Thanks for sharing your story with us. And we look forward to seeing more of what you do online. And guys, remember, that on social media, the proceeds go to the food that they are serving at MeeMaws Hometown Kitchen to feed their community. I want to thank you guys again for coming on. You've been great guests, and this has been Common X with Jared and Ian.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Common X with Jared and Ian. I mean, there's got to be a common sense approach to this. I mean, right?
Generation X has been quiet for way too long. 1 minute 15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second, altitude 90. New flawless, we know.
Common X.